So there are three things that we're going to review today. Basic graphing, finding the slope, and slope-intercept form. These are three other things that we did in the first semester. So it should be reviewed. So, part A. So there's nothing about part A that you need to copy down. Again, if you want to write it down because you need it for yourself, do it. But none of this is required for the notes that I'm going to grade. So as far as graphing goes, so when you graph on a coordinate plane. You have an x-axis, a y-axis, quadrants, 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you plot points on a graph, you always start at the origin, 0, 0. First number tells you left or right. So you move right if it's positive, left if it's negative, and you don't move if it's 0. Left if it's positive, right, positive, left, negative, don't move if it's 0. Second number is the y-axis. You move up if it's positive, down if it's negative, don't move if it's 0. So let's look at some of the examples. So if you printed it out, all you have to do is follow along. Side note, I will print out the notes and leave the packet at the door near the cafeteria and the gym in South Building. So for those of you who want the packet of notes so that you don't have to print them out yourself, they'll be at door 12 of this school building, same door that you came in to register, take your ID picture, get your Chromebook, so that you can have the notes packets early. So that'll be down there, if not today, then tomorrow. So again, these examples, you don't have to copy them down. So you do not have to copy these down. 3, 7 means you start at 0, 0. Move 3 spaces to the right. 7 units up. So that's where point A was found. And that's in quadrant 1. Remember, your quadrants, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then 5, -6. So the 5 means you go 5 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 6 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What's your point? And that's in quadrant 4. So all of those points, that shows you how to plot points. Do you have to write down this example? No. So everything in this part, you don't have to write it down. Unless you want to have the example for yourself, but you don't have to. So, any questions on plotting points before we move on? Remember, closed mouths don't get fed. Some of y'all know how much you struggled in the first semester. If you don't change what you do, then you shouldn't expect to get anything better than what you got the first time around. So I'm going to change the page in 10 seconds. So let's go ahead and change that page. All right, so slope of a line. So if you see me highlight something, that's something that you should write down because it's going to get checked. So if you see me highlight something, you should be writing it down. So now we're doing slope. So if you see me highlight something, you should probably be writing it down. So slope is the steepness of a line, also known as rate of change. So you have to know what a slope means. Steepness of a line, also known as rate of change. You should also know that there are 4 types of slope. There's positive, negative, zero, and undefined. So, positive slope means that the line is rising. Negative slope means that the line is falling. Zero slope means that the line is horizontal. And undefined slope means that the line is vertical. Any questions before we continue? I wasn't moving it yet. I'm going to move on to the next part, but I wasn't about to move the page yet. Okay, right now, all you're doing is exactly what you would have been doing if you were in the classroom. If you were in the classroom, you would have been taking notes. All right. So let's review finding the slope. So we did slope first semester. There are 2 ways to find slope. There's finding it using the graph, and there's finding it using 2 points. So, for the graph, you definitely need to make sure that you have the slope formula and these 2 examples. So let's go ahead and review the slope of the line. So if you are given a graph, so if you're finding the slope from a graph, first step, start at the lowest point. So for example 1, you've got 2 points on a graph. Start from the lowest point. Count the number of units you must move up. So, how many spaces do I have to go up? How many spaces did I have to go up? 3. Start from the lowest point. 1, 2, 3. 3 spaces. Now we count the number of spaces that we have to run. So, how many spaces did I have to go to the right? now we've got everything that we need to do our answer and do it effectively. So we've got rise over run. Your rise was 3, and your run was 2. 3 over 2. So, one thing to remember, if you move to the left, that's negative. If you move to the right, that's positive. If you move up, that's always positive. But if you choose to go down, that's negative. You should always go up for rise. But if you make the mistake and go down, that's okay. Just know that that's negative. Any questions before we continue? If you're stuck, you have to ask questions. I can't read your mind. If you're not stuck, that's cool. But if you are stuck and you don't say nothing, then that means I need to assume that you know what you're doing. All right, example 2. So we've got a horizontal line. We've got 2 points. So we can pick whatever point that we want. I'm going to pick that one. Do I have to rise? No rise. So there's no rise. How many spaces do I have to run? One time. So rise over run is going to be 0 divided by 1. What's 0 divided by 1? 0. There you go. Any questions? Go for it. Well, there's 2 either directions, left or right or up or down. So if it's up and down, so this isn't up or down, that's left or right. So if you're going from, so if it's left to right, that means the slope is going to be 0. But if it's up or down, that means the slope is undefined. Excellent question. So if it's left to right, that slope is 0. If it's up and down, then it's undefined. I like her question. Any questions before we continue? Let's keep it moving with 2 points. So, when I check your notes, I'll be looking for that formula, example 3, and example 4. You should definitely make sure you put the title. That way you know what you're looking at. So, finding the slope. So if I give you 2 points, this is how we find the slope. First step is real critical. Label the points. So the first point is x1 and y1. Second point is x2 and y2. So first step is the label. So I'm hoping Anthony, Carlina, and Clyde will copy get these notes copied. You need them points. So first we label. Now we plug them into the formula. So y2 is 1, so that's 1 minus -5 divided by 8 minus 12. 1 minus -5 divided by 8 minus 12. Martin Parker, we got it set up that way? All right. So Ron, you got it set up? And let's keep it moving. So now let's solve it. What's 1 minus -5? Anybody? Let's see. 1 minus -5 gives us what? I like the 6. Just a regular 6. Yes, Mikkel, you should have 1 through 4 on the notes so far. There's more notes though. So 1 minus -5. Remember, keep, change, change. So that gives you 6. And 8 minus 12, ladies and gentlemen, gives us what? -4. So 6 over -4, can that be reduced? So what do we reduce this to? 3 over -2. Absolutely. Divide both parts by 2. Okay, Leon got this written down because he needs them points. We all need them points. Questions, example 3. So let's do example 4. So the line passes through -7, 4. And -7, 9. So what's the setup? How do we set this problem up? So we label everything. Don't sleep on labeling it, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to help you set it up correctly. So what's going at the top? Nine minus 4. So 9 minus 4 goes at the top, and -7 minus -7 goes at the bottom. Now we're going to solve it out. Hopefully Shair and Shakaya got these in their notes so we can get them points. What's 9 minus 4? 5. And what's -7 minus -7? 0. What's 5 divided by 0? Nope. No. That's undefined. So remember from last semester, if the 0 is at the top of the fraction, the answer is 0. But if the 0 is at the bottom of the fraction, that is undefined. It's okay. I know Jay, Julian, and Cyrus know that. That's why they don't have it in their notes, so they can get that correct. Questions on examples 3 and 4. If the 0 is at the bottom of the fraction, it is undefined. If the 0 is at the top of the fraction, then the answer is 0. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 90 seconds. Go ahead and stand up, stretch. If you need to finish. So, last thing that we're going to touch upon today is graphing. Graphing and slope-intercept form. So again, this isn't brand new. We did this last semester. So the first type of graphing is graphing a vertical or a horizontal line. So a vertical line is x equals a number. A vertical line is x equals a number. So when I check your notes, I should see definition for a vertical line and this example. And sure enough, if you don't do the graph, you get a 0 for not doing your notes. So x equals -2. So here's how we graph x equals -2. Go to the x-axis, go to where -2 is, and then draw a vertical line down -2. They told you that x was equal to -2. Go over to where -2 is, draw that vertical line. That's a vertical line. So now let's do a horizontal line. Again, if you're looking for clues to what you should have in your notes, look for what I highlight. Those are clues for you. So horizontal lines is y equals a number. Y is equal to a number. So we have y equals 5. So I left this part blank. Why do you think I put a blank space here, but put a graph over there? Why do you think I left that part blank? What do you think I'm about to show you? How to make a graph if either A, you can't print it out, or B, you can't get a hold of graph paper. I don't want to hear the excuse of, Mr. Lowe, I can't graph it because I don't have any graph paper. So now, this is how you graph it if you don't have any graph paper. First thing you're going to do is draw an x-axis and a y-axis. X-axis and a y-axis, and then you're going to put some tick marks. So I'm going to put 6 on each side. There you go, I have a graph. It doesn't have to be cute. It does not have to be cute. Mr. Lowe is not a cute person. If I got graded on how cute Mr. Lowe was, I would have never gotten out of kindergarten. So, I'm not grading you on how cute your graph is. I'm grading you on did you do it right. So, let's graph it. Y equals 5. Go to the y-axis. Find where 5 is equal to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then draw your horizontal line. That's it. I'll go. Any questions, vertical or horizontal? Let's see. Do we draw the whole graph? Cindy, what do you mean by the whole graph? Oh, okay. So, vertical and horizontal. So, last two examples involve a beautiful formula called slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form. The slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. M is the slope, and b is the y-intercept. So m is the slope, and b is the y-intercept. Now, here's the steps for graphing in slope-intercept form. If you don't need the steps, then you don't need to copy it. But if you need the steps, then you should copy it. But I'm not going to look for the steps when I grade the notes. I'm not going to look for them. But we are going to follow the steps, for example, 7 and 8. So, example 7. We have y equals negative 3x plus 2. We're going to identify the slope, identify the y-intercept, and we're going to do the graph. So, we're definitely going to be looking for example 7 and 8. Let's see. Go ahead and take care of that real quick. I'm looking at all the people that I've seen in class, so I know how many people should be turning in notes before 1 o'clock. So, example 7. We have y equals negative 3x plus 2. So we're going to put the formula directly below it. What's the slope? Which number represents the slope? -3. I'm about to say, I got too many people that got A's and B's up in here last semester for us not to know that. So that's slope. What's the y-intercept? 2. So the slope, you should always make the slope a fraction. So how do I make -3 a fraction? How do I make negative? Put a 1 over there. There you go. So -3 over 1. That's going to help us when we start graphing. Any questions before we continue? Let's see. No need for the question mark, Tyler. You right. Don't doubt yourself. You get the highest percent of all my Algebra 1 students last semester. Don't doubt. So, we've identified the slope and the y-intercept. Plot the y-intercept on the y-axis. So go to the y-axis. Since your y-intercept is 2, put your first dot on the number 2. Just like that. Now we look at the slope. Is the slope positive or negative? Negative. So if the slope is negative, then you're going to move down and to the right. So go back to the point, go down, 1, 2, 3, to the right 1, put another point. Go down, 1, 2, 3, to the right 1, put another point. 1, 2, 3, right 1. 1, 2, 3, to the right 1. But you can also go up and to the left. Up 3, to the left 1. Up 3, to the left 1. Do you have to do it both ways? No. It just gives you a better graph to draw. But you don't have to do it both ways. After that, you draw your line. After you plot the points, you draw your line. That graph ain't that hard. Graph's not that hard. Any questions before we do example 8? Example 8 is the last example. So before we do example 8 together, I'm going to give you a quick minute to get it started yourself. So example 8, y equals 5 over 2x minus 7. So somebody tell me what the slope is. 5 over 2. And what's the y-intercept? -7. Remember, if you take the number, you have to take the sign that's in front of it. So both of those are good to go. Oh, Mr. Will made it blank again. So that means you're going to draw it yourself. So draw the graph ourselves. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. So what number goes on the graph first? -7. Does -7 go on the x-axis or the y-axis? The y-axis. Good. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. There's our y-intercept. So our slope, is that positive or negative? Positive. So that means if the slope is positive, we can go up and to the right. So that's up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and to the right, 1, 2. Put another point. Go up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to the right, 2. Another point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to the right, 2. Put another point. You could also go down and to the left. Now, I can't go down 5 because I'll run out of space. So that's the best that I can do. Draw the line. There it is. Yes. So you're talking about the point that you started from? So when you start from that point, that's like starting at 0. So this is 0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you go 1, 2 over. So whatever point you start at, that's like starting at 0. Good question. Anyone else with questions on example number 8?